December comes the glimmer on her face, and I get a bit nervous. I get a bit nervous now. In the 12 months on, I won't make friends with change. When everyone's perfect, can we start over again? The playgrounds, they get rusty, and your heart beats another 10,000 times before I got the chance to say I miss you. When it gets hard, I get a little stronger now. I get a little.
My Lord Honorable Justice Professor A.E. Akure, my Lord Honorable Justice T.M. Adekipe, Honorable Justice J. Ademola Ekome, Honorable Justice J.O. Abe, Honorable Justice Dr. O.S. Kutai, Honorable Justice W. Olamide, Honorable Justice P.O. Ikujoni, Honorable Justice Adiremi Adegroye, Honorable Justice D.I. Kolawole, Honorable Justice O. Akiton Osadele, Honorable Justice A.O. Adebusoye, Honorable Justice E.A. Alade, and my Lord, Honorable Justice A.O. Odushola.
Eunice Aderoke Alade, other noble lords, they are present. Allow the President, the retired President of the Customary Court of Appeal, our LNC, members of the bar, members of the family of Akenroye, directors and staff of the Ondo State Judiciary, other guests present here. When we lose our loved ones, we hardly come to terms on time about the loss. But when we have accepted the reality that they have gone to rest, we look for ways to celebrate them. It is one of the cardinal reasons why we are here this morning to celebrate Baba Chief Augustus Epebinu Akenroye, a noble leader of note. We are gathered here to observe this court session in his honor. And we are not going to take time because there are other activities lined up in his honor. It is my pleasure to welcome each and everybody that is here to honor the departed. Thank you for coming around. My Lord, the Honorable Chief Judge, Honorable Justice Williams Akenroye is unavoidably absent as he is attending another official function outside Ondo State. And standing in his step this morning is my Lord, Honorable Justice O.A. Odushola. On his behalf, on behalf of Honorable Justice Odushola, I want to welcome Mr. Olumide Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Thank you for coming. Another learned Sikh in our midst is Alhaji Abdulgani Ajana. Thank you, sir, for coming. Mr. Cyril Akinsola, the Permanent Secretary and Solicitor General of the Ministry of Justice, is standing in for the Attorney General, Charles Titi. Thank you for coming here. I also want to acknowledge the presence of Baba, the Right Reverend Simon Oluwole Porokini, PhD. He is the Bishop of Anglican Diocese, Akure here. Baba, thank you for coming, sir. My Lord, Honorable Justice and recognize your Lordship. It is now my pleasure to invite my Lord, the Honorable Chief Judge for his Lordship's speech.
Good morning. Like we have heard from the Chief Registrar, the Honorable Chief Judge is unavoidably absent and has dedicated me to read his speech. My Lord, the President of the Customary Court of Appeal, my Lord, Judges of Ondo State Judiciary, My Lord, the retired Judge, Justice Akure, the retired President of the Customary Court of Appeal, Senior Advocates of Nigeria present, the Honorable Attorney General Commissioner for Justice, Ondo State, Chief Registrar of the High Court and Customary Court of Appeal, your worships, children and immediate family members of the deceased, the Deputy Chief Registrar, High Court and Customary Court of Appeal, Chairman of branches of Nigerian Bar Association present, directors and staff of Ondo State Judiciary, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor to welcome you all to this remarkable occasion, the special court session in honor of our father and friend, the late Chief Augustus Epebinu Akenroye. We are gathered here today to celebrate and honor the memory of a great man, a man loved by many. He was the true definition of honesty and humility, a dogged achiever who was full of integrity, grit, and transparency. He was a gentleman in the true sense of the word, a brilliant and intelligent man who mastered his art in legal profession, which enabled him to attain the envious height he did in the profession, as well as make indelible contributions in the legal practice in Ondo State and the nation at large. Late Chief Augustus Akenroye was indeed a great man. Greatness is not necessarily measured by the volume of materials one possesses, but by the volume of positive transformation one has injected in lives and events. Diligence and commitment were part of the qualities that marked him out in all he did. He was not one that would shy away from responsibility. Chief Augustus Epebinu Akenroye was born to the family of late Chief Francis Akenroye in December 1957 and taught for 3 years as a primary school teacher before he proceeded to the famous St. Andrew College, Oyo, where he obtained teacher's grade 2 certificate in 1962. After he left St. Andrew's College, Oyo, he studied for London GCE, where he passed 3 advanced and 3 ordinary level subjects at the same sitting before he gained admission into University of Ife, Ile-Ife, now Obafemi Awolowo University, to study between 1966 and 1969. He was subsequently called to the Nigerian Bar in 1970 as a barrister and solicitor of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. Chief Augustus Epebinu Akenroye began his career as a civil servant with the Old Western Region government at Ibadan, Oyo State in 1975 before Ondo State was carved out of Old Western Region in 1976. He was transferred from Ibadan to Akure in February 1976 as one of the pioneer staff of Ondo State Ministry of Justice, together with Mr. S.A. Ajayi, Mr. J. Adeniyi, Jayeola, S.A. Olowo. Other members of staff were thereafter appointed in 1976-1977. He started his service at State Council Grade 2 in the ministry and eventually rose through the ranks purely on merits to the position of Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, before he retired in July 1990. That was the position he held with high integrity and honor, and from which he retired in July 1990. It is on record that Chief Akenroye was appointed as a special assistant to the Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice, Ondo State, in 2002. On November 16, 2020, he marked 50 years of being called to the Nigerian Bar, and he spent those 50 years significantly contributing to the development of law and legal profession in Ondo State in particular, and Nigeria in general. Chief Augustus Epebinu Akenroye is blessed with many children. Among them is a medical doctor, 4 lawyers, 2 chartered accountants, and a law teacher. He also has grandchildren. He died peacefully on the 20th of December 2021 at the ripe age of 85. Chief Augustus Epebinu Akenroye was indeed thrown down the gauntlet for those of us who are still alive and active in service to live up to expectation of our calling and oath as lawyers and judicial officers in the discharge of our duties. Thus, it is our responsibility to take up the baton passed on to us by our senior colleague and strive vigorously to see that the development of law and legal profession in Ondo State and beyond do not suffer loss in our time. The active, focused, and diligent life of the man we have gathered to celebrate today is equally manifest in how he managed to take charge of his family, in effectively combining the home front with the enormous responsibility of public service. And today, his children are professionals in different fields. We commiserate with his wife, children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, as well as the entire Akenroye family. It is our prayer that the Lord shall continually uphold you all this period and beyond. We urge you to take solace in the fact that this was a life well lived and worthy of emulation. May the soul of Papa Akenroye rest in peace. Amen. Finally, on behalf of Ondo State Judiciary, I bid farewell to our father, brother, friend, and senior colleague, Chief Augustus Epebinu Akenroye. His life was indeed a blessing, and his memory will surely live on. May his kind and gentle soul rest in peace. Amen.
The sad eclipse of the son of a great father, colleague, and grandfather. Confined and lying in a beautiful casket is the lifeless but once active body of a great man whose sojourn on this planet has culminated in the requiem of today. Beholding him lying majestic even in death, who will have known that the little dark-skinned baby boy, born as little will one day grow into a legal colossus, whose life and times they are all gathered here to celebrate. I therefore crave indulgence to embark on the task of encapsulating the biography of the deceased. Early life and education. Chief Augustus Epebinu Akenroye was born on 6th March 1936. He started his early quest for education and knowledge at St. James Primary School at Jebule, Ijebu Waterside, in Ondo State in 1942, and later completed his primary education at Native Authority Primary School in 1950. He attended the famous St. Andrew's College, Oyo, for the London GCE. Thirdly, he gained admission into the University of Ile-Ife, Ondo State, to study law between 1966 and 1969. He was subsequently called to the Nigerian Bar in 1970 as the barrister and solicitor of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. Career. Chief Augustus Epebinu Akenroye began his career as a civil servant with the old Western Region government at Ibadan in 1975. At the inception of the state creation in 1976, he, along with some others, including Mr. S.A. Ajayi, later High Court Judge, Mr. J.A. Adeniyi, later High Court Judge, Mr. Ajayola S.A., later Attorney General and Public Trustee, Olakunju Olowo, later Permanent Secretary and Solicitor General, and Akure, later Chief Magistrate, were the pioneers of the old Ondo State Ministry of Justice. He was the State Counsel Grade 2 in the Ministry of Justice and eventually rose through the ranks to the enviable post of Director of Public Prosecutions until July 1990 when he retired. It was to be noted that he held the position with high integrity and honor. He returned to the ministry in 2002 as the Special Assistant to the Director General and Commissioner for Justice, Mr. Jumokari Funshi. Family, late Chief Augustus Epebinu Akenroye was married and blessed with many children. Among them is Rebecca, daughter, lawyers, and 2 chartered accountants. Coronation. The giant star has died, and the colossus has taken his exit. Even in death, figure looks. Now cannot successfully unveil his real gift to humanity. Posterity has left his ashes, but his records, his annals. Naturally, we feel a sense of honor, occasioned by his departure, but we are consoled by the fact that his life is a testimony of great deeds. We are content with the litany of encomiums and eulogies pouring in his name from all quarters. Adieu, Baba Akure, Bob Ken, continue to rest in the bosom of the will need to part no more.
I, as a member of the People Bar, had the privilege of having to interact with Baba Akure. Upon his retirement, came back home to Okidipupa. I was not only practicing in Okidipupa, he was a complete fireman who was attending almost all the NBA monthly meetings in Okidipupa at that time. Even at the age I was still finding time to attend the NBA Annual General Conference. That was the extent of his commitment to the bar. And that came from his interactions with all of us bar members. We gained a lot from his humility, his discipline, and at that time, those of us who are still young and those who are younger than me at the bar at that time had the benefit of protection from Baba, from judges who want to, I'm sorry not, harass those of us who are legal counsels. We had the benefit of such protection, and Baba was there all of the time, a father figure, and let the virtue of paying attention to details. Baba will pay attention to every details. If you have a case with him and you just close over it, you will be caught on details. And first was his practice that we were very careful, those of us who had the opportunity of using the word confronting in court Baba in his litigations. Baba was there giving a lot of wisdom, teaching us. I was young that time. I was barely 2 years at the Okidipupa Bar when Baba came in. You can realize how young I was at the time. I gained tremendous Baba's discipline, his advice, and I would say, without missing word, that Baba contributed a lot to the development of the bar, not only of Okidipupa Bar, but of the Nigerian bar. His time at the Ministry of Justice is still being referenced even up to today as the time when discipline was taken very, very seriously. We commiserate with Baba's family. We'd like to especially commiserate with the honorable gentlemen of the family, our learned colleagues in the family, and wish that God will provide you and guide you in ensuring that the legacies left behind by Baba is well kept. Thank you, my Lord.
Thank you, sir.
Inshallah, representing my Lord the Honorable Chief Judge of Ondo State, may I humbly crave your indulgence to stand on protocol to be established. A tribute to the late Chief Barrister A.E. Akenroye by members of the late Chief Barrister A.E. Akenroye, with his amazing penchant for bar activity, was a thorough barman till the end. In reminiscence of his immediate past history, for which we are professionally concerned, Chief Barrister A.E. Akenroye, now of blessed memory, opted for membership of the ever-dynamic Nigerian Bar Association, Oktigba branch, upon being called to the Nigerian Bar. In his most admirable devotion to the cause of the Nigerian Bar Association, Chief Barrister A.E. Akenroye had consistently participated in all bar meetings and the annual general conferences of the Nigerian Bar Association, both as a corporate legal practitioner while he was Director of Public Prosecutions and as a private legal practitioner upon his retirement from public service until extreme old age became a stumbling block. In our calm estimation of his eventful legal practice, Chief Barrister A.E. Akenroye, who rose to the pedestal of a doyen in Oktigba Bar, was a consummate legal practitioner and a barman par excellence. He will be remembered particularly for his unalloyed devotion to bar activities. In our utmost belief, he has not died. He has simply transited to further participate in the highest realm of justice, wherein our Creator rules as the perfect judge. In the above connections, therefore, we are confident that Chief Barrister A.E. Akenroye will eminently win all his cases before the holiest temple of justice above. To his immediate family members, God's grace ad infinitum. To the society in general, his loving spirit, please keep afloat. To the Nigerian Bar Association, Obi Jus Epiremetio, adieu, our learned friend. Thank you.
Lord, the Chief Justice of Ondo State, ably represented by Justice Shola. And Lord, you permit me to stand on the existing protocol. I can't say when I first met Chief Augustus Epebinu Akenroye, who I fondly called Chief, because there was no other way I could address him respectfully other than that. But I remember taking a photograph with him at one of the bar conferences held in Lagos in the early 80s. I also remember meeting him at the Institute of Advanced Legal Studies, University of Lagos, where we both attended advanced training in civil litigation. It was sponsored by the Ondo State Ministry of Justice with some other state council, while I was self-sponsored as a private legal practitioner. Since our meeting, Chief has become not just a senior colleague at the bar, but a senior friend, whose children have become like my junior sisters and brothers. In fact, when his children started graduating the call to the Nigerian bar, it was his desire that some of them should join me in my law office. His desire didn't work out. Nevertheless, his children and I became very close, particularly Dr. Ayo Akenroye, who has not ceased to get in touch with me wherever he is in the world. I cherish my relationship with him. Also, when he retired from Ondo State Ministry of Justice, he he proposed making my Lagos office his out of jurisdiction office, since he was in Ondo State, which I willingly accepted. Chief never stopped getting in touch with me, even when he was no longer in active legal practice. There was no function or program I invited him that he wouldn't attend the company of his ex-wife. As Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice on Ondo State, when I needed a senior assistant legal to help in the office I held, I thought of no other person than Chief. He willingly accepted to work with me. Our time together was quite fruitful because, as a former Director of Public Prosecutions, he was always on hand to give advice when I needed him to. He was there for me and did all in his wisdom to make my tenure as Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice successful. There was no errand too small for him to run for me. I saw Chief last in 2020 when I attended his wife's burial. He wept immediately realized my presence at the funeral program. It was a cry of joy because I could understand that he perhaps didn't expect me to attend, but was surprised that I still held on to our relationship. He invited me to his 58th year of call to bar, which would have been held on 16 November 2020. But unfortunately, the lockdown COVID-19 cancelled all preparations towards the celebration. On the 12th of December 2021, I got a call from him. He said, "Jumoke, it's me, Akenroye, greeting you. I just wanted to say hello to you. Sheoguro Buki, that's me from Obanjo." After exchanging pleasantly, the next bad news I got was first from Mayo in Canada, and someone with his phone a few minutes later informing me that Chief Akure, your friend, has died. It was a big shock, as it was barely a week he called me that he died. Chief Akure's demise is work for celebration. At 85 years, nothing to be sad about. He lived a fulfilled life with good and responsible children who are all professionals. He rose to the pinnacle of his career as a civil servant, DPP. What more can we ask for? He served with God sincerely and was a deputy chancellor, diocese on the coast of the African Communion. What more can I say than to appeal to his children to keep the facts fine? Your father lived an enviable life. For this special sitting of the High Court in his honor, he really deserves it, as he worked and worked for the legal profession in Ondo State, being one of the pioneers when the state was created in 1976. I thank the Chief Judge for obliging the family. Honor shall not depart from your lordship. And to all the judges, I thank you, and I want to specially recognize some of the judges who were state counsel at that time, that is Justice Epebinu, Justice Olabide. They are all present and we all worked happily together. Chief, continue to rest in peace. Thank you.
Like I said earlier, our Lord, the Honorable Chief Judge has permitted a inclusion of 2 people to speak this event. Though it is not our normal practice, but they have been given that discretion because they are lawyers. I think we should acknowledge them. It's now the turn of one of the children of Baba Akenroye to speak. While my Lord was reading a speech the other time, said Baba was survived by 4 lawyers. That is not a main figure. And that is why we're going to invite Dr. Ayo Akenroye, a lawyer, to speak. He has always been part of the judiciary anyway, so he's back home.
Lord, we honorable Justice Commissioner,
Lord, if you may permit me to sit on existing protocols. This is a remarkable day for me, both personally and professionally. This is the second time ever that I will wear a wig and gown in Nigeria. And the first time I will appear before a court in Nigeria. And you can guess the first time I wore my wig and gown. It was during my court at the bar more than 8 years ago. It is striking to me that my father was present on the first occasion, and on the second, though he is absent in the body, his memory looms large in this room today. The entirety of my legal career has been a tribute to me, and I stand before you today, my noble lords, to tender myself as an heir of Chief Akenroye's standing legacy. I woke up this morning with a bittersweet taste in my mouth, thinking about the significance of this solemn assembly. It is the same bittersweet taste I've become familiar with since my father who is mortal covered. Many of us here know the initial sour taste of the bitter leaf soup. And the sweetness is leaves in your mouth just when you muddle the last morsel of Akure. This is precisely how I'm feeling right now. Imagine rightly describe a father as a mirror. Forgive me, my lords. This is best expressed in Yoruba language and in Diki. And it is that metaphor that best describes my father, our father. To me, is the clearest and most upright mirror I've ever looked into. In him, I saw whom I wanted to be. Whereas many taboo into the legal profession accidentally. In my case, my career trajectory was carefully plotted by my father's effective modeling. It was even sure that despite being the typical teenager who wanted to be everything from Anglican priest to a soldier, I didn't waste the day scavenging for purpose. He socialized and baptized into the legal profession from the cradle. As a child, I would accompany him to court, hauling his huge bag of books behind him. It was during one of those visits to the court in Ondo State that I felt the call of God, law, and justice. He didn't impose his fiction, but carefully mined my talent and steered to the path of divine purpose. Incidentally, it was the intense courtroom clash of two legal titans of Chief Augustus of blessed memory and Chief Akenroye, who is there with us today, that cemented my decision to study law. I hope to tell that story on another day. I'll share that story privately with Chief Augustus. I'm very grateful. Time will fail me to capture his monumental contribution to law and jurisprudence in Ondo State and Nigeria generally. He wore his badge as a civil servant with utmost pride and distinction. He was compassionate, yet fair, sociable, yet disciplined, intellectual, yet humble. In the face of the most difficult life situation, my father listened with courtesy, reflected thoughtfully, responded prudently, and decided dispassionately. His unique gift of administration helped him to successfully steer the abundant talent in the Ondo State Ministry of Justice when he was the DPP, and he raised a whole generation of exceptional lawyers, many of whom went to bestride the legal landscape as outstanding jurists and senior advocates. He had significant influence as Ondo State lead prosecutor, but exercised the power of his office with sobriety, conscious of the fact that there's nothing more dangerous than a reckless prosecutor. He declined to prosecute several cases because he understood that a prosecutor's case in a prosecutor's separate duty is not to tag as many skins of accused against the wall, but to defend the rights of the people and ensure that everyone, and even those accused of the most heinous crime, have a taste of justice. The seed he sowed carved a path for me as a criminal law scholar and led me to earn a PhD in international criminal law. And even though my father was more than 80,000 miles away, I always had him speaking to my soul, providing a well-housed moral framework to make challenging decisions and guiding me on what to do and how to do justice, even if the heavens will fall. I found that whether it be in the halls of the International Criminal Court at the Hague, Netherlands, where I prosecuted a former child soldier for genocide and war crimes, or here in my Lord, the Chief Justice, or in my country as a Canadian immigration judge, the principle of justice are the same in every corner of the world. And this principle formed the philosophical heartbeat of my father's life and career. But as accomplished as my dad was, he was very modest. I did not get a brief that he was a legal celebrity until my third year as a student of the Bafemlale University in the criminal law course taught by my Lord, Ondo Justice. I see you as my Lord. Ondo Justice, who is just yesterday. We were learning about the age of criminal accountability for children as we studied the 1986 Supreme Court of Nigeria decision in Modupe versus the state. And my classmates, some of whom are here with us today, were annoyed by the legal arguments presented by the respondents' counsel, was Mr. Akure, and they started hailing me as the son of a juggernaut. That was one of the most precious moments of my life. My Lord, I will say what I think is the most inspiring aspect of my father's life and career. He practices his profession as an offering to his creator and to the law as his ministry. Sometimes in the 80s, a man was about to be prosecuted by the Ondo State of Justice, brought in a massive load of cash and a wood drum to Alabama GRA residents to persuade my father to look the other way. When my father returned from the office that evening, he was so livid, maybe the angriest I've ever seen him or saw him growing up. He called the man and he gave him an ultimatum to come and pay his gift or risk immediate arrest. That same evening, the man rushed down from Benin and left with the items. The child in me, my Lord, hated to sit down and leave our house. But I learned a very valuable lesson on integrity. Almost 20 years later, my father became restless in retirement and decided to pay toxic visits to a friend who was an African priest in Benin. The priest lamented to my father that he has a blind parishioner who had abandoned the faith and left the fold. Out of curiosity, my father asked for the name of, and as you can guess, it was the same man who attempted to bribe my in the 80s. My father asked to meet the man. And when my father introduced himself, the man leaped for joy. My father preached the gospel to him, and he rejoined the church and died a Christian. My Lord, ladies and gentlemen, the justice may be blind, but even the blind see when justice is practiced out, fiction is never born in the presence of honesty. That is the rich legacy that my siblings and I have been entrusted with, to use justice to open my eyes and set the captive free. Whether in my courtroom as an immigration judge in Canada, in Fairway, Canada, or in Santa Claus courtroom as the Director Tribunal here in Akure, or in Santa Claus litigation classroom at the Nigerian Law School in Diego, which is molding the next generation of lawyers and jurists, or classes or intensive effort in defending the right of the indigent in Ondo State. We will continue to invoke our father in the moral canon that he left us with, in his contribution to law and justice, in the laws he spoke and wrote, and in his timeless counsel and insight. Therefore, as a symbol of honor for my father's legacy, with every sense of responsibility and with the kind permission of my noble Lord, church represented by Ondo State, I am personally committing to rehabilitate and upgrade one of the courtrooms at the Judicial Division, to standard comparable with the courtroom I sit as an immigration judge in Canada. judges in federated courtrooms. We've had many, including myself, by calling us my lords. We have now taken the most consequential vows before the President of the Heavenly Magistracy, the author of all things, the Lord of Lords. Daddy, Chief Akenroye, may I conclude by saying, like Shakespeare, good night, good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow that I will say good night until tonight will come to tomorrow. Thank you for it.
To recognize Mr. Jaibo. Thank you for coming. You have been part of us as well. Mr. Akure Olugasa, Law Pavilion. Thank you so much for attending. We are currently coming to the end of this program. Permit me to give a little announcement. After this court session, the body of Baba is outside to make light to 5 past to give him the last honor and wave to him. Thereafter, my Lord, the Honorable Chief Judge, will have a photo session with the family members to commemorate this session. Tomorrow, February 17th, 2022, there's going to be a line estate at the Akure quarters in Lututu Oshoro at noon tomorrow. On Friday, 18th February 2022, there is a outing at Ebenezer Anglican Cathedral, Diocese of the Coast at Iletutu. I will meet the week at 4 p.m. tomorrow at Akure quarters as well, Oshoro in Lututu. It is now my pleasure to invite, for the vote of thanks, Mrs. Olufunke Adegboroye, Deputy Chief Registrar in charge of Finance at the High Court of Justice, Akure.
Good morning, once again. Indeed, the sun has set for the late Chief Augustus Epebinu Akenroye, and that is why we all gathered here. To this end, I want to thank my Lord, the Honorable Chief Judge of Ondo State, Honorable Justice William Akenroye, ably represented by my Lord, Honorable Justice O.A. Odushola, my Lord, the President of the Customary Court of Appeal, Honorable Justice Princess Aderonke Alade, and all their brother judges for being here. And we say thank you very much for coming. I also want to thank my Lord, the retired President of the Customary Court of Appeal, Honorable Justice Falashade Abudataiwo, ever radiant, ever beautiful. Thank you very much for coming, ma'am. I also thank my Lord, Honorable Justice Ayo Obuyemi from the State Judiciary. Thank you for taking that long drive to be here. We really do appreciate you. I want to thank the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, ably represented by Mr. Cyril Akere-Sola. Thank you for coming, sir. I want to thank very specially the Right Reverend Simeon Oluwoleborokinyi, PhD, the Bishop of Anglican Diocese. And I must say here that we have the full compliments of the Akure Anglican Diocese here. The Chancellor is here, Honorable Justice Yemi Akinto-Osadebe. The Deputy Chancellor is here, Honorable Justice Olamide. And Deputy Chancellor too, Honorable Justice Temitope Adedipe. You can say that the bench is truly Anglican home. And from what Mr. Akenroye said, I want to believe that the late Chief was an Anglican. Wow, that's interesting. I thank the Silk, the Learned Silk, for being here. Thank you very much for being here. And also members of the bar, the chairman of the bar, and all other members, we thank you very much for coming. The Chief Registrar of the State High Court, thank you. We call her Tito Gold, thank you. I also thank your worship, directors, staff of Ministry of Justice, and all staff of Ondo State Judiciary for being here. And to the members of the family, I want to congratulate you, as indeed you are a great partner. And I'm sure, like they say, if the dead can see, I'm sure he's happy and proud. I hope that you'll continue to make him proud. Yes, I will thank every other person that is here for finding time to call. It is the turn of Chief Akenroye now. Whose turn is it tomorrow? I pray that when it's our turn, we all have a worthy legacy to leave behind. Thank you very much.
Glad to inform this beautiful gathering that we have come to the end of the court session in honor of Baba Augustus Epebinu. My lords, ably led by the Honorable Chief Judge of Ondo State, will now depart the courtroom.
The court shall rise.